You just saved 40% on something you didn't need. You feel good about it. You feel smart about it. But you spent money today that you weren't planning to spend yesterday. That's not an accident. That's not bad luck. That's a switch in your brain, and someone else is holding the switch. But it doesn't have to be that way. Your brain didn't evolve to compare prices. It evolved to compare options that are right in front of it, side by side, in the moment. That single fact is the reason almost every discount you've ever taken has worked exactly as intended on you. Here's what's actually happening when you see a red tag that says 50% off. Your brain isn't asking, do I need this? Your brain is asking, am I getting a good deal compared to the other number I just saw? Those are two completely different questions, and retailers have known for decades that if they can control which question you ask, they can control what you buy. The psychologist Amos Tversky and the economist Daniel Kahneman spent years studying how people actually make decisions involving money, as opposed to how economists assumed people made decisions. What they found became known as prospect theory. The core idea is simple. You don't evaluate money in absolute terms. You evaluate it relative to a reference point. Show your brain a reference point, and it will judge everything else against that point, even if the point itself is meaningless. A discount is a manufactured reference point. The original price on the tag isn't a fact about the item's worth. It's a number placed there specifically so your brain has something to measure the sale price against. Cross out $100, write $40 underneath it, and your brain doesn't calculate whether $40 is a fair price. Your brain calculates that you just avoided losing $60. And avoiding a loss feels almost twice as powerful as gaining something of equal value. That's the loss aversion Kahneman and Tversky documented. Losing stings roughly twice as much as an equivalent gain feels good, so a discount doesn't feel like spending, it feels like winning. Why does that matter so much? Because your ancestors weren't shopping in stores. They were making split-second decisions about food, safety, and resources with almost no time to deliberate. A brain that reacted fast to apparent losses survived more often than a brain that calmly weighed every option on its actual merits. You inherited that fast, reactive brain. Modern retail didn't create this wiring. It just found the wiring and started pulling on it deliberately every single day. The behavioral economist Dan Ariely ran an experiment years ago with subscriptions to The Economist. Readers were offered a web-only subscription for $59, a print-only subscription for $125, or a combined print and web subscription, also at $125. Almost everyone picked the combined option. It looked like the obvious deal, since it cost the same as print alone but included the web version too. Then Ariely removed the print-only option entirely, leaving just the web subscription at $59 and the combined subscription at $125. Preferences flipped dramatically. Most people now chose the cheaper option. Nothing about the two remaining choices had changed. Only the reference point had disappeared. The middle option, the one nobody wanted, existed only to make another option look better by comparison. Retailers call this a decoy. Your brain calls it obviously the smart choice. Neither label is close to the truth. Now think about the store shelf you walk past this week. 3 sizes of the same product. Small, medium, large. The medium size is almost never a good deal per unit. It's there so the large size looks generous. The small size is there so the medium looks reasonable. You weren't choosing your ideal amount of shampoo. You were choosing which comparison felt best. Here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Studies on scarcity and urgency, building on the persuasion research of psychologist Robert Cialdini, show that adding a countdown clock or a "only 3 left" label increases purchase rates even when the buyer has plenty of time and the product isn't actually running out. Your brain doesn't check whether the scarcity is real. It just responds to the signal of scarcity as though it were real. Because for most of human history, a resource that looked like it was disappearing usually was disappearing. There was no marketing department manufacturing fake urgency around berries or firewood. If it looked scarce, it probably was. That shortcut kept your ancestors fed. Today, it just keeps you clicking buy now. So what does this mean for the way you actually spend money? It means the sticker that says you're saving money is frequently the exact reason you're spending money you hadn't planned to spend. The bigger the discount displayed, the bigger the manufactured reference point, and the more convinced you feel that walking away would be the loss, not the purchase. You can't switch off this wiring. It's not a flaw you can think your way out of in the moment, because it operates faster than conscious thought does. What you can do is change which question you ask before your brain gets the chance to ask its own. Instead of asking, "How much am I saving?" ask, "Would I buy this today at this price if there were no other number on the tag?" That single reframe removes the manufactured reference point and replaces it with the only comparison that actually matters, which is the item against your own goals, not the item against a number a marketing team chose on purpose. Try tracking, for 1 week, every discount you take. Not the amount you spent, the amount the tag claimed you saved. At the end of the week, add it up. Most people are stunned by how large that number is, because savings from purchases you wouldn't otherwise have made were never savings at all. They were spending wearing a costume. None of this means every sale is a trap or every discount is dishonest. Some prices really are lower for good reasons: clearing old inventory, seasonal turnover, genuine competition. The goal isn't to distrust every red tag you see. The goal is to notice the moment your brain shifts from, "Do I want this?" to, "Am I getting a deal?" Because that shift is exactly where the decision gets made for you instead of by you. You didn't do anything wrong by responding to that 50% off sign. You have the same brain every other human has, built by the same evolutionary pressures, reacting to a reference point the way brains have reacted to reference points for tens of thousands of years. The only difference now is that the reference points are no longer set by nature. They're set by a pricing team in a meeting room, and they know exactly what they're doing. You just saved 40% on something you didn't need. Now you know why you believe that. And the next time you see that tag, the question you ask first is the one thing they can't put a price on.